Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, more news about the upcoming legacy of the Phrecia event in Path of Exile 1, and today's post is quite a bit longer. So I'm actually going to split this up into two parts for today's video and then tomorrow's video. Today we're going to cover the three new previews of the Ascendancy, which is the Daughter of Oshabi for Ranger, the Antiquarian for Marauder, and the Surfcaster for Shadow. And then tomorrow we're going to talk over all the other things that is like an FAQ kind of style, the wars that we have. Thinking about like, is this like just a testing ground for Path of Exile 2 and so on and so forth. So that is up for discussion then tomorrow. Good. I would say let's start right into the action. Since we revealed our plans for the Legacy of Phrecia event in Path of Exile 1, we've seen lots of questions from the community regarding the event. We'll be answering the most common ones in the news post, as well as showcasing 3 more Ascendancy classes. Check out Daughter of Oshabi, the Antiquarian, and the Surfcaster Ascendancies classes below. So first of all, as an Asmiri, the Daughter has great respect for nature, particularly the forest. She shares many of the powers of the Warden of the Magi, as well as being empowered by shrines or utilizing sacred wisps to aid wanted attacks. Let's take a look at this one here. Scrolling here. Forest tracking has increased attack damage per 450 evasion, and rare and unique enemies within 120 meters have a minimap icon. I personally don't think that's gonna be all that valuable because it's still Path of Exile 1 and not Path of Exile 2, because, you know, you're here to, like, freaking explode screens and screens and screens, and, yeah, there shouldn't be any monsters left once you're done with, like, explosions, I guess. Then we have the Roots of the Groove. All damage inflicts poison against enemies affected by at least 5 Grasping Vines, and inflict 1 Grasping Vine per hit. This is actually very, very powerful because there is, I think, a unique small cluster jewel that has something with, like, chance to deal double damage per Grasping Vine, as well as the enemy takes, or at least the enemy deals, or you take less damage per Grasping Vine. So this could be very, very potent if combined with this one jewel. Kind of forgot the name, but doesn't really matter all that much. The all damage inflicts poison is also, like, very valuable. I can remember there was a build, but I cannot really think of which build it was that used this effect to actually inflict poisons. Then we have Woodland Shrines. Trigger level 20, create Lesser Shrine when you kill an enemy, as well as Innate a Blessing, gain a random shrine buff every 10 seconds. So this is actually very, very powerful. Just thinking about, I think there is 2 uniques that can actually do something fancy with that. One is the, I think, Blunderbore PoE, I think is like a chest. And we have the Gull, which is also like a very, very fancy unique. So the Blunderbore has the effect of you have lesser brutal shrine buff, you have lesser massive shrine buff, the increased effective shrine buffs, but also has a ridiculous strength requirement that can be potentially bypassed by like a timeless jewel or something, or strength stacking, or whatever. And then we have the Gull, which says increased effect of shrine buffs on you, as well as the increased duration of shrine effects on you, as well as trigger level 1, create lesser shrine when you kill an enemy. So I guess this is additive, or at least will maybe give you like 2 shrines, or only shrines at level 20 or something. I don't know which or how much power it is there on the level 20 create lesser shrine, but the combination of Blunderbore and the Gull with this Ascendancy and just play your entire character around shrines. I think there is even a build that is like based around shrines, but this would empower that quite massively, so that might be like a very fun combination. Then we have Spell Slinging. Skill supported by Spell Slinging have 50% increased cooldown recovery rate, and skill supported by Spell Slinging have 50% reduced mana reservation. I don't even know when it was the last time that I played something with Spell Sling, or I think it was SS Drain Contagion or something. That is like many, many leagues ago. There has been so many reworks of like Spell Slinger and the mana reservation and the internal global cooldown and so on and so forth. So I don't really have quite an opinion about this one, just because I haven't used Spell Slinger in such a long time. Then we have the Eliminating Wisps, which is +2 to maximum number of Sacred Wisps, as well as 2 to number of Sacred Wisps summon. This goes hand in hand with the support gem with the Sacred Wisps, so for any like want-based attack characters, whether it's like Kinetic Blast, Kinetic Bolt, power siphon and so on and so forth, this might be like a very, very nice thing. And last but not least, we have the Oath of the Magi, which is basically the one that came from the Affliction League with the additional ascendancies, basically. Defenses from equipped body armor are doubled if it has no socket, 60 to all res if you have an equipped helmet with no socket, gems, then 30% increased max life if you have no gems in your gloves, and 30% increased movement speed if you have equipped boots with no sockets. This was like the best way to actually level up characters in the in the Affliction League, because you were just playing was it the one with nothing thing, you know, you just were like hammering with smite, and then you just had all 60 all rest, 30% movement speed, because you didn't even need a lot of gems to get going, right? This is probably, yeah, I mean, there will be certain builds that can take use of that. I think like the 60 all rest is massive, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it is night. I mean, such a stupid joke. I hear this in my stream all the time. At the end of the day, you're probably gonna get your res from other sources once your gearing gets better, but seeing it as a way where Raider, for example, is a very good ascendancy on League Start because of the ailment immunity, because of the onslaught, and just overall quality of life things like facing. But at the end of the day, once the league goes on and you invest more into your character, you fix those things, and then Raider becomes more and more useless if you don't go Frenzy Charge stacking. And here's like the same thing, but the 30% increased movement speed is probably the best thing over here, followed by the all res, because capping a resistance early on with this neat little trick, just don't put any gems on your helmet, might be like very, very strong. So very, very cool on the Daughter of Oshabi. Then we have the Antiquarian. This Karui collector hails from the port of Nagakanu. Over the course of his long career, he has traded for historical artifacts, many of which he can employ in combat. Choose from Kalguran relics, Karui trinkets used by legendary chieftains, or equipment from one of the great Karui enemies, General Marcus Linei. Good, no idea, I'm not a lore guy, so let's take a look. We have Linei's bow for far shot, which is basically just increased damage the further the projectiles travel. This is also like on the tree, or was it like a Deadeye Ascendancy? But anyways, then we have Linei's hair, which has your hits cannot be evaded and 50% reduced dexterity. This is actually not too bad, because it is kind of like Resolute Technique, just you're still able to crit. I think custom crit characters like to enchant this on their weapon, but if you do so, then this would become a pretty bad node, because it kind of becomes useless, right? But the 50% reduced dexterity can be an issue when it comes to like accuracy overall, but more or less like the socketing gems, because there is not really a build that has only red gems or only blue gems or something. So getting like a hybrid gem like Swift Affliction or something, which needs like 100 dexterity, now all of a sudden you need 200, so that puts definitely a lot more pressure on the gearing aspect. But as I said, the accuracy is not really a problem, because your hits cannot be evaded on the long run, right? Then we have the Linei's shield, minus 100 physical damage taken from projectile attacks. Don't really have an opinion on that. And we have 50% or gain 50% chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. This is a very, very, very powerful, thinking about the combination with the Svalin shield, because this is only like, what is it, a 23% block chance, but your chance to block is lucky, and so on and so forth. I also played this in Path of Exile 2 already, and honestly, what is it? The Warbringer Ascendancy has 40% base block from your shields. This one has 50% chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. Is like insanely powerful. Then we have the Turtle Shell, 1000% increased stun and block recovery. Reminds me on the stun tech combo that people used. I don't know if this is still a thing. If so, this could save it, but on the other hand, it would only like basically open up one jewel slot to not use the jewel instead, right? So I don't know, like this one sounds very, very strong. This could be really nice, or at least like far shot. I don't know, what else is there? Goliath Knuckle, you have no intelligence but 150 flat strength. Might be nice for something like a strength stacker, but you have no intelligence is awkward. That means you cannot use any hybrid bases, you cannot use any what is it? blow gems or something like that have an intelligence requirement, you can probably bypass this with the timeless jewels where there is no attribute requirements for anything. So I guess this goes like hand in hand with this note, but yeah, then we have Whale-Toothed Bangle, 1% increased duration per 10 strength. I don't know what that should be. Sorry. It just states 1% increased duration. I assume it's going to be skill effect duration. It could be a global duration, which would be new, which probably increases the duration of your buffs or something like that. Might be kind of funky if it works like that, because thinking about having like almost endless headhunter buffs when you go strength stacking, so that needs to be specified. What is increased duration? I assume it's going to be skill effect duration, but then it would basically say skill effect duration, so maybe there's some very interesting combinations with the Whale-Toothed Bangle. Then we have Runic Tablet, gain Adrenaline for 10 seconds when ward breaks. We have Starlight Reflector, 100% faster restoration of ward, and 100% increased global defense, which is insane because it counts for armor evasion and energy shield. Then we have the Kalguran Armor, which says gain ward instead of 50% of armor and evasion rating from equipped body armor. So why do I go over these three so quickly without going into detail what can be used with that? Simply because I have not a single clue. I have never ever touched ward in any build. I have never played a ward looper or any build that uses ward to begin with. So if I would just pretend to know what I'm talking about, I would fool you guys. I'm just saying I have no idea about ward, so I cannot give you guys an opinion or any build. What do you say? Build idea with these three notes. I'm sorry about that. And then we come to the Surfcaster for the Shadow. The Surfcaster is a simply chill guy. His home is with the sea, for which he attunes to gain control of the cold and lightning elements. An expert fisherman himself, you can reap great rewards for holding a fishing rod if you can find him one. Alright, so let's take a look at the Ascendancy note. So we have Brine Bound, 50% chance to freeze enemies for 1 second when they hit you. Enemies you freeze remain frozen for at least 1 second. Is actually a very, very insane defensive layer, but I don't know how easy. I mean, there is like freezes for like a very few milliseconds. If that turns into 1 second, you could basically perma-freeze bosses with that. I don't know if this is a thing, but at least it sounds like that for me. Then we have Ghost of the Deep. You are touched by a tormented illegal fisherman, granting you 20% increased damage, 30% increased attack speed, 30% increased cast speed, and 30% increased movement speed. This is like a no-brainer. It's basically what like Adrenaline combined with like Onslaught or something that is permanently active because you are touched by a tormented illegal fisherman. So that obviously is not Onslaught, so it can stack with Onslaught, right? So this is just like your bread and butter. Hey, I'm faster, I have more attack speed, like cast speed and damage. Like, probably a no-brainer, but let's see what the other ascendancies are. Bated Breath. All hits are critical strikes while holding a fishing rod. What? Screaming Reels. 50% more cast speed while holding a fishing rod. What the F, dude? Like, on one hand, we're not allowed to talk about fishing whatsoever. On the other hand, they give us an ascendancy specifically giving you notes for a fishing rod. So I guess this is like casting because fishing rods don't really have a lot of damage. The problem is, I think a fishing rod is a two-handed weapon that can have a maximum of 4 sockets, so you don't even get a 6 socket here, or a 6 link, but you always deal crits and you have 50% more cast speed. That sounds like a ridiculous combination, but yeah, you lose all the plus levels to skills, you lose your shield, you lose so many benefits of just wearing a freaking fishing rod. I don't know if the more cast speed, maybe for Arc or for Spark, maybe? I have no idea, but this sounds to be quite interesting. I don't even remember what unique fishing rods are there and what kind of like, isn't it like the lure length or something, or increased chance for fish biting? Or I have no idea, maybe there is some hidden interaction, would be super funny. Then we have Sealax, 30 cold lightning resistance, critical strike chance is increased by overcapped lightning resistance, and evasion rating is increased by overcapped cold resistance. This is something that a lot of armor stackers are doing, but I think it's armor per overcapped fire resistance. Maybe this could double dip with the Chayula body armor or something like that. this could be very interesting to get the armor stackers to even crazier levels on what they have been before, because it was not only like armor stacking and evasion stacking with a double dipping with increased evasion rating and with iron reflexes, and then go further with like overcapping your resistance to gain even more bonuses. Because if you get armor is increased by overcapped fire res and evasion per increased cold resistance, you could make some like all res stacking kind of characters and benefit a lot of those. But I remember the small jewels that you want to have with that are ridiculously expensive, so that is like for super hyper endgame, but might be a thing together with the fishing rod KW. Okay, then we have changing seasons. All damage taken from hits can chill you, and the effect of chill on you is reversed. That is actually quite nice. There has been some reverse chill what do you say, builds that were very, very powerful, but you had to use this one ring where it says your effective chill on you is reversed, so that would open up a ring slot, which is very, very powerful. And then if you inflict a 30% chill and you get basically action speed 30%, is a shit ton, because it accounts for like movement speed, attack speed, cast speed, and those kind of things. Then we have Glacial Wave. Enemies chilled by your hits lessen their damage dealt by half of chill effect, and enemies chilled by your hits have damage taking increased by chill effect. So this in combination, 30% chill, is actually crazy, because they deal 30% less damage, and they also going to be slower because of the chill effect itself, and they take increased damage, which is a more multiplier on top. So after all the damage calculation with increased damage, more damage, multiplier, blah blah blah, and then on top of that they also take 30% increased damage, is insane amounts of damage and defensive in one note. This sounds to be absolutely ridiculous and absurd. Then we have Stormy Seas. 100% of lightning damage convert to cold damage, and your cold damage can shock. Holy moly, that is actually insane. Instantly thinking about what is it, the Eternity Shroud builds, or the Incandescent Heart, where you get ally damage as extra chaos damage or something like that. And the main problem is, on those builds you are kind of forced to run double Call of the Brotherhood, because Call of the Brotherhood has like 40% lightning to cold conversion, with Catalyst is 48%, so double these rings is 96%, because you want to go from no matter where you start, physical to lightning, or in that case lightning into cold into fire. Well, fire you can fix with the gem, with the cold to fire support. But Stormy Seas is actually crazy, because for all these like Incandescent Heart builds, you now save up 2 ring slots, which is very, very freaking powerful, as well as like something like Eternity Shroud also not being necessary to have those 2 Call of the Brotherhoods, because the Call of the Brotherhood rings are kind of shit on its own, right? And the ring slots are very powerful, but with this node you just free up 2 ring slots. It's insane actually what you can do with this kind of node. And then within the Tempest, enemies you kill are shocked, and shocks you inflict spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters. Could be like some impulsor angle maybe, but I don't think this is too powerful, because I think we have like the same form on, or these nodes on a pair of gloves. Did I name or forget? Dude, I'm getting old, I'm forgetting so many names, but you know, with a bazillion of thousands of items and keystones and nodes and notables and small passives and whatnot, and holy shit, there is so much to remember, and especially since I played like PoE 2 so much, I'm forgetting things about PoE 1. But oh boy, this Ascendancy is completely busted in my opinion. Like, your cold damage can shock is also very, very freaking powerful, and if you go for increased effect of ailments, what you would do with this anyways, because you want to have like 30% chills on the enemy for the less damage taken, for the more damage taken on the enemy, for the reverse chill for more speed, for big shocks, which is also like a more damage on top of that. I think this Ascendancy especially, I'm not, the fishing rods here is funny, but honestly, taking Glacial Wave, Changing Seasons, Stormy Seas, as well as Ghost of the Deep sounds like completely ridiculous kind of like damage and defensive potential. This might actually be, yeah, I mean, this would be my second choice. At the moment, I'm still favoring the Harbinger from the Witch and going like Impending Doom or something. But this actually sounds very, very strong, with a lot of like fancy build combinations, with maybe like an Eternal Shroud setup or Incandescent Harp, going CI, going Aegis Aurora, getting all that like glancing blows set up. You get so much like energy shield based on like blocking and stuff like that. Might be very, very, very cool. So yeah, those are the three previews for today. Daughter of Oshabi for Ranger, Antiquarian for Marauder, and the Surfcaster for Shadow. Well, I definitely favor the Surfcaster because it's absolutely crazy. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. What would be your choice as of right now for starting in the legacy of the Phrecia Event? And yeah, see you in the next video.